My amp unit, Summerslam Sunday morning, very early as in 6:30 a.m., and there's already chaos in the social media world. Trending number one worldwide is "Thank You, Johnny." Now, why is that chaos, BC? That's a good thing, right? Of course it's a good thing, but it's chaos because apparently, now I don't know a lot about this. I'm a little older. Not old, but older. There's a boy band, or maybe there's a female in there too, or two, I have no idea. But they're called BTS, and they're extremely popular. And I guess there's somebody named Johnny or John in there. So whenever these fans of this BTS group, more of a group than band, right? I mean, there's no like guitars and fucking drums. I have no fucking idea. I don't know about this BTS, to be honest. I've heard of them. I just know they're extremely popular. But, yeah, apparently there's a John or a Johnny in there. And when they saw "Thank You," the BTS fandom thought that they were talking about this group member. So they're pissed off that "Thank You, Johnny" has nothing to do with their BTS member. A lot of them are asking who the fuck Johnny Gargano even is. But if you're a pro wrestling fan, you know "Thank You, Johnny" this morning means Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, which we think is his last match in NXT was last night. And this is a guy, before I even go over that match, guys, this is a guy who every single time he is in that ring, and during takeovers, he's mostly flat on his back, eating the 1, 2, 3. But he goes in there and he gives you 1,000,000%, not 1,000%, Seth Rollins. He gives you 1,000,000% every time he goes in there. And I swear to you, when the match is over, when a Johnny Wrestling, a Johnny Gargano match is over, you honestly think the dude could possibly be dead. Because he gives you so much to the point of near death. It's true. This is a Johnny Wrestling match. When it's over, even if you don't smoke, you need a cigarette. It's one of those things where you are exhausted and you weren't even in the match. I'll go over it when I go over that main event match, guys. This is, of course, the 28th ever BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified podcast. We're going to film it in two different segments. As you can see, it is Sunday morning right now. So we're doing the NXT Takeover, almost live, right? And then recently, I filmed over a half an hour of a SummerSlam preview video for tonight. So again, I filmed that previously. So we're going to go to past BC in, I don't know, 15, 20-ish minutes, something like that. We're going to go to past BC and he's going to give you the future for SummerSlam's preview. Does that make sense? So it's two different segments. But I had to get this podcast out a little later to you guys on Sunday because I wanted to give you this first segment. I actually wanted to review NXT TakeOver in full. Still has to be kind of quick. I mean, I do have a road trip ahead of me. I'm headed back out to the Jersey Shore. Second day in a row. That's why there was no upload yesterday as well. I did have to wait for NXT to go over the review, so I did want to push the podcast back. But two, I wanted to treat myself, work on the tan and do my thing over at the Jersey Shore. And then I liked it so much, I'm like, I'm going to go back tomorrow. So here we are tomorrow. And before SummerSlam, I just want to fucking lay out, enjoy myself, clear the dome piece, man. Because I know tomorrow's good, the bad, and the ugly of SummerSlam is going to be absolutely lit. So, can I say lit? Is that even fucking in the vocabulary these days? Or am I not a cool kid? Gotta start following BTS, right? Is that them? BTS? Back in my day, guys, this is probably dating myself, but back in my day, it was NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees. I think that maybe there was one or two more, but those were the boy bands back then, Now this BTS is just exploding, man. So good for them, man, I don't know. Today's music is nothing like the 80s and 90s for me, man. I don't think you could ever recreate what we had in the 80s and 90s. Today's music is just all over the place. Most of it's just fucking noise. I'm really sounding like I'm old right now, right? But I just love my fucking 80s coke rock and my fucking R&B from the fucking 80s, early 90s. Alright, what the fuck is the Amplified? It's my hour-long podcast. Let me talk about what I want. let's get to the NXT Takeover Toronto, man. Let's get to this whole card, top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end. I'll start off with the tag titles. This was the first match of the night. And of course, this was and again, tag titles. So this was Street Profits and Undisputed Era, O'Reilly and Fish. This was a 17-minute match. Good match. But if we're being honest, all right, which you know it's the only way the Amplified Man can be, NXT has produced so many amazing matches that I'm almost jaded or just desensitized when it comes to just good matches. You know what I mean? Like they produce so many amazing matches that when I get a good match, I'm kind of jaded to it. I'm kind of desensitized to it. So I have to remember not every match is going to blow the roof off. Again, good match. It's just when you think NXT TakeOver matches, you really are now, the bar has been set so high, the standard, the level has been set so high now, that when you just get a really good match even, it's like, all right, next up. And I have to remind myself as a wrestling fan that what they're doing in there, it's just still should be thought of as unthought of, unheard of. They're doing things that back in the 80s and 90s, these wrestlers couldn't even dream about doing. They're putting their bodies through hell, and it's gotten to a point and a level where now fans like the Amplified Man, we've seen so many of these amazing matches, or great matches, or really good matches, that it's like, you know, how are you going to one-up it? And it's, I don't know, it's kind of a scary thing to think about, because I don't know, I mean, the next takeover, 2 years from now, if this is the new standard, are we going to get kind of sick of it? I mean, you're going to have immense storytelling and characters that are larger than life. I say that all the time, but especially going forward, because I believe we're at a time where we're starting to see really good matches all the time on the indies. Or I'm pretty sure we're going to see them all the time in AEW. We see them all the time for sure in NXT. Is it going to reach a point where it's like we're going to need more? I don't know. Because I know Street Profits and Undisputed, I can fucking speak already. It's the beginning of the podcast. Undisputed Era, they went in there and they had a damn good match last night. I don't know. I never could really click with it, you know? And I knew I was watching a good match, and even at times really good. Online, I was seeing like just fucking, I don't know. I was seeing like epic, unbelievable tag team match. I wouldn't go that far. I think we're starving so much for dynamite tag team action because we don't get a lot of it. We haven't in years. That when we see something like that, we're blown away. Understandably so. I wasn't seeing epic in that match. I wasn't seeing over the top fucking, just amazing. I wasn't. You know, it was a good, solid tag team title match. That's all. Thank you for letting me get that out of the way, because it was a concern that I have, guys, that I'm starting to see so many, like, really good matches, but if they don't live up to the standard that NXT has produced, which is, like, amazing matches, it's almost like it didn't do it for me then. And I have to remind myself, no, that what they're doing is still fucking amazing in its own right. It's just not living up to the... You know, it's not an amazing match. Hopefully that makes sense, man. I know a lot of you guys probably feel the same way. We're starting to see the same type of matches where it's just a game of one-upsmanship. Who can one-up the other? And that pushes people to the boundaries, yes, but that's also going to fucking kill people one day, man. The things they're doing in that ring right now. I saw people getting dropped on their head so many times last night, and it seems like every single takeover, I see more and more people getting dropped on their fucking dome piece. And that's why we're starting to see more and more concussions now more than ever. Not because just the testing is better these days, it's because people are getting dropped on their fucking dome pieces left and right. Looks badass, entertaining as hell, we thank you. Man, some of this shit just looks pure fucking nasty. I'm not even talking about the tag title match anymore. I'm going through the rest of the fucking... I'm jumping ahead of myself. So anyway, this match was good. Tag titles. The Street Profits end up winning this match. They retain the titles, and I'm good with that. But my question is, now what? We've seen the Street Profits on Raw nearly every week for the past month. Are they part of Raw? Are they part of the main roster in general? What is the issue? What's the deal, I should say, with the Street Profits? Are they just going to be in-betweeners, NXT champions, but also showing up on Raw? We don't need that. That's just blurring the lines unnecessarily. Let's do something with the Street Profits in the form of keeping them somewhere. They got the straps? Cool. Leave them in NXT then. There's no reason they should be taking up time on the main roster when other people could be using that valuable time on the main roster. Just a thought. Your tag team division on the main roster is non-existent. So you're taking the NXT tag team champions and trying to bump them up. Grooming them for a main roster position is one thing. But when they're another brand's champions and they're going over to Raw and they're cutting 4-minute promos way too long that are getting to the point of even annoying when I actually like the Street Profits in NXT. So far on the main roster, they're a fucking joke to me. Just a bad version of the New Day. That's my question. That's my another concern from this tag title match. So I know I'm bringing up a lot of negativity and it seems like I'm pissed from this tag title match. No, it was a good match. I don't know, man. I've grown to expect even more dynamite, especially even with the tag team division in NXT. I got a really good match. I didn't get amazing, but I got to remind myself, really good is really fucking good. My only concern, again, is what do they do with the Street Profits now, man? Are they going to still show up on Raw with those titles? I just don't like that shit. I had to address that concern with you guys. Alright, I'll fucking move on. Relax. Next up is Io Shirai taking on Candice LeRae. This was a fucking title match. Just without the friggin' title. Let's be honest. That's how good this match was. I had to remind myself 3 different times in this match that Io Shirai and Candice LeRae is not for a championship. Because it felt big fight feel. It felt like there was a title on the line. This is the type of match that I would expect at an NXT show. It was exactly 15 minutes long. The first 5 minutes was a feel-out process, and the last 10 minutes was just a fun ride all the way to the finish. Io makes Candice pass out via submission. I love Io, so there's no issue with that. I mean, that's what should have happened anyway. Io taking the spot over Candice LeRae. So obviously, A, I love Io, and 2, that's what should have happened. So perfect. I just feel the NXT, I have another concern. Yes, I do, man. I'm going to call it down the middle. You know, I love a lot of shit in this, and I'm going to tell you guys my concerns. I feel that NXT uses the pass-out finish to death. It's got to be more spread out. You can only use that in really huge, significant situations. Yes, Io and Candice we know is going to be a dynamite match. I would not put that in the category of severe, significant situation where you need a superstar to pass out. Those finishes need to be saved for the most special and unique circumstances and situations. I remember just, what January was it? Was that when Bianca Belair fucking passed out to it? It's like they're just picking, and at that time Belair was still fairly new to that roster. And you just have now everybody just passing out. That should be for the most dynamite superstars in the most dynamite situations. NXT uses the pass out finish way too much. You know, that's something that you would expect to see maybe like tonight. Natty Becky Lynch submission match. Natty's homeland of Canada. And it's for the strap. And I could see like Natty just like passing out. And Becky Lynch wins, which should be happening. But it's Natty's homeland. She gave it everything she had. And in the very end, she even refused to quit. Not in her homeland. She passed out. You know what I mean? Candice LeRae and Io Shirai and there's a pass out finish? No, just have Candice tap. No harm, no foul. Rebuild her. She's already got a huge following. People love her. She's a dynamite wrestler. She'll be fine. And where do you go? Who's left for Shayna Baszler? I'll get to that in a couple of minutes, but is Candice LeRae going to go over to Shayna Baszler? Candice LeRae just got beat. So now all of a sudden she gets catapulted to a championship match? BC, that's why they made her pass out, to look even stronger. No, it's a loss. She couldn't get out, and she could not beat Shayna Baszler either way. Same thing as Royal Rumble. It wouldn't have mattered. Becky Lynch tapped the fuck out to Asuka, and then later that night she's winning the Royal Rumble and headed to WrestleMania. It doesn't make sense. So Candice LeRae going next to take on Shayna Baszler, to me, doesn't make sense. A loss is a loss. Whether it's a pass out or a tap out, you fucking lost. You ain't gonna get a title opportunity for another 2 takeovers, if you're thinking like I am. So, I have no fucking idea, guys. These are concerns of mine, you know. I don't like the pass out finish all the fucking time. NXT abuses the shit out of it because they want to make everybody a fucking look strong. There's times to do that, and then there's times to just have a fucking winner and a loser. Tap the fuck out. That's another. You know what? I'll raise another concern in the other ladies match. Let's just move on for now. But yeah. Again, just like the first match, it sounds like I'm pissed off, I'm getting amplified, but no, I love the match. Second match in a row, damn good. I just have concerns with a lot of shit, you know what I mean? I'm gonna address them and call them out. Page 2 of the notes that I jotted down, guys. Let's go over to, actually this is between the second match and third match. Matt Riddle, because they knew. The second match, Candice LeRae, and you got Io Shirai. And then the third match, you got the NXT North American Championship. So they had to kind of split it up, and I like how they did it. Matt Riddle hits the ring and calls out Killian Dain. Dain comes through the crowd, and the brawl is on. This was messy as fuck, but fun. Riddle was beating up security guard after security guard. Killian sent the King of Bros through a table with another security guard. So this was pure chaos. I liked it, man. You don't always see that at takeovers. Usually it's just one badass match after one badass match after one badass match. After one badass match after one badass match. 5 badass matches in a row. And then takeover goes off the air. So you had a little bit of shit that you would see on an NXT Wednesday night show. You know, a weekly show. With a little bit of a brawl segment. Break them apart. Security cards going down left and right. Referees don't know what to do. Pretty badass, actually, for Matt Riddle and Killian Dain. And I'm glad, you know, that even though Matt Riddle wasn't on this card, that they found a place for him, you know. I know a lot of people don't like Matt Riddle these days. He's opening his mouth a lot and causing a lot of shit on social media. But I like Riddle because I know what he's capable of, man. And it took me a minute to warm up to him. You guys remember when he first came? My first biggest addressing fear was Matt Riddle's not going to be there long because he likes to do extracurricular activity, if you guys know what I mean. He likes to smoke some stuff. So I didn't know how long Riddle... That's what really got him kicked out of UFC, or that ended, you know? Yes, his attitude, but Dana White came right out and said that was a huge reason. He did not want to quit doing what he was doing. So I didn't know how long he was going to last. He lasted longer than I already thought in NXT. I hope he stays on the straight and narrow because this guy's got a bright fucking future. Yeah. Let's go on to... Let me take a sip of my fucking coffee quick, guys, and then we'll resume this. Alright, thank you guys. Through the filming magic, we're right back with you. NXT North American Championship is next. Velveteen Dream, Roderick Strong, and Pete Dunne for Dream's Championship. The old Mountie song plays Velveteen Dream out to the ring. If you guys don't know who the Mountie is, please Google, YouTube him, do what you gotta do. But the Mountie is one of my favorite superstars from back in the day. And I always remember probably his most epic feud as the Mountie. And that's with easily one of my top superstars of all time, the Big Boss Man. They just had such a fun feud. And it culminated, it's kind of ironic and kind of interesting that tonight's SummerSlam, because that brought me back to SummerSlam. I believe it was 1991, I want to say. If not, I'm not too far up, but I believe it was 1991, where Mountie and Big Boss Man faced each other one-on-one. Loser goes to jail match. Just one of my favorite matches of all time. And you guys know I love a drawn-out story. During that SummerSlam, after, I don't want to spoil it for you, but after the loser lost that match, they got hauled off to jail. They kept going back on that SummerSlam pay-per-view. After every match or two, they would go back and they would go through the processing of said individual, and then they would go through the, him being actually placed in the jail cell and screaming to kind of get out. I I'm kind of giving it away because obviously the heel would have to play that role. So if you know who the heel was in the Boss Man Mountie match, then that's who lost the match. But go back and watch that, guys. Go back and watch all of SummerSlam 91. And I'm hoping it was 91. I think it was, man. We're going back fucking almost 3 decades, but I think it was 91. Mountie, Big Boss Man, loser, goes to jail. I just love that, man. Anyway, I'm going on a sidetrack. I'm going back old school. I love all those days, man. But they played the Mountie song, and that's why I'm talking about this. That was his theme music back in the day. So it was so cool to hear that. Something that little, man, brought me right back to when I was a kid, dude. And then the Toronto Raptors appear on stage. I don't know them, so I don't know if it was some of the players or just the cheerleaders. But that basically, again, played Velveteen Dream out to the ring. Then you had Roderick Strong second. Pete Dunne came out third. It's pretty cool. I mean, you know, if you're going to do something elaborate for Dream, I guess you would have to do something for Roderick and Pete Dunne too, but I don't know if they're at that level to have amazing entrances. Dream is literally already a bona fide, legit superstar, so, you know what I mean? You could see him having these elaborate entrances. It just, what does it say for Roderick and Pete Dunne, you know? Match itself, so we just go for it. Match itself was 18 minutes long. Up to that point, longest match of the night. I can't stand championship matches with more than one challenger. You guys know that. It should be a champion versus a number one contender. Number one contender, not contenders. So I can't chant. I need another fucking swig of coffee. I can't stand triple threat, schmazes, fatal fours, anything like that. I just think a championship match should be one-on-one. If it's a tag team match, for the straps, 2-on-2. But if you're going to have a triple threat schmaz, you might as well have Dream, Strong, and Dunne because you know they're going to deliver a solid match, and that's exactly what they did. Chance of This Is Awesome in Fight Forever. I wouldn't go that far, but still solid as fuck for sure. Dream flew coast to coast with a flying elbow, and not too long after that, got the ultimate W over Pete Dunne to retain his title. So, no bads to even speak about in that match. Again, I don't like the triple threat aspect of it, but, you know, if you're going to pick 3 people, I don't know if you can really do better. I mean, I'm sure we could. I'm exaggerating, but Dunne, Strong, and Dream went in there. The first several minutes didn't captivate me in the least. The last fucking 10 minutes of that motherfucker, edge of the seat, man. You really didn't know which way they were going to go. You thought Dream was definitely going to retain, but you never know when he's going to get that call up because he should have gotten it fucking yesterday, as in last year. That's all. He's been a superstar that long. So you never know when Dream's going to get that. But it looks like NXT likes to run those long stories because they can. You know, they have it kind of, well, it's not kind of. Triple H said in his own words, it's easier for them to carry out longer storylines. And in doing such, they can make a champion keep the title for a long time. There's a lost art, a lost concept. I love that shit. When a champion looks like a champion because they're being booked as a champion. So you have someone like Baszler holding it for what seems like forever. Velveteen Dream holding that championship for what seems like forever. Love that shit. But I didn't know. I didn't know if, like, it was his time to get the call up, and then who are they going to give it to? Roderick or Dunne? So, yeah, I would go as far as to say edge of my seat, but it wasn't in a way of because it was a fight forever type of match. I wouldn't want to see them fight forever. You know what I mean? It was damn good. It was even great at times. Some of the sequences were fucking amazing. But in the end, I don't know about fight forever. I think we're using these phrases a little bit too loosely, and now every time we see a damn good match, it's just like the Street Profits match. That was a really good match. But it was not amazing. It was not a fight forever match. You know what I mean? I think we're using these terms a little bit too much. What I was seeing online from the Street Profits match, you would have thought that was a second coming of Christ type match. No. You know? And again, NXT has set the standard so fucking high that now we have to move up the bar. It's just the way it is. I'm not making the rules. These superstars are making those rules. They keep one-upping themselves to the point where the fans eventually have to raise the bar. So, anyway. Next up, fourth match of the night. This is the NXT Women's Championship match. Now, by this time, I left on the Twitter machine, I left on, almost word for word, I told you guys, every match has been solid and damn good, but I knew it would be. It's NXT, and I know that they would deliver. But as I said on Twitter, at this point, I wasn't captivated yet. Like, it was missing that special feeling that NXT usually has. And I was hoping that by the fourth match, Shayna and Mia could deliver that. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, it's Shayna and Mia. No offense, I like them both. I'm big on Mia, and I'm big on Shayna, obviously. But I just felt that those two... Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Mia Yim fell victim to the same mistake as Bianca Belair. They were just one takeover too soon. You guys remember Bianca Belair? I believe it was NXT TakeOver Phoenix. I believe this was in January, where they had Bianca Belair go in there against Shayna Baszler, and I felt that was one takeover too soon. Bianca Belair, to me, was just too new. She was starting to gain a fan base. If you just held out one more takeover, 3 extra months, WrestleMania weekend, Bianca Belair versus Shayna would have been fucking even more dynamite. And it was damn good, by the way, in January. But it wouldn't have done anything making Bianca Belair lose in January when she was just starting to get some momentum. And what happened? They rushed it, and they had to, because there wasn't a lot of female talent worthy of being in there with Shayna at the time. Nobody built up. You can't tell me nobody bigger than Bianca at the time. So they had to thrust Bianca Belair into that match too soon. And I knew from the beginning, I knew it was not right, and I knew Bianca Belair was not ready for that spot. Not just skill-wise, but because fan support-wise. And what it would do for her going forward. She shouldn't have been in it. And sure enough, they had her lose the match. I don't care if it's a tap out, a pass out. If Jesus himself helped out Shayna Baszler, it wouldn't have mattered. Bianca Belair losing was the end result. And you can't tell me that today, August of 2019, when that was back in January, that Bianca Belair is any more huger or bigger in that company than she was in January. And that's because she lost momentum that night. I'm telling you, subconsciously. And sometimes the subconscious is more fucking dynamite than the actual conscious up front. That's not good. She was one takeover too soon. My point? Mia Yim fell victim to the same thing last night. One takeover too soon. Mia Yim was not NXT TakeOver ready. And this is coming from a Mia Yim fan. So I'm telling you this. She wasn't. It showed last night, but on top of that, it doesn't do anything for Mia Yim losing that match last night. It is not going to propel her to any bigger limelight spotlight in the future. Or the near future. And they had to put her in there, though, because there was nobody really left. You had Candice LeRae and Io Shirai doing their thing. Well, if you're going to take them out of the equation, who the fuck is left? They want to save some of the other, obviously, the Storms and shit. They want to save that shit, right? You're talking NXT UK you're going to have to bring over. Females from those brands now. No, they don't want to do that, obviously. Mia Yim gained a little bit of a following to the point where they're like, all right, we'll use her. It was the same thing as Bianca Belair. She started to gain a following. They took notice and they're like, let's thrust her in there now. But all they're doing is they're feeding them to Shayna. Build them up, man. It will be more epic in the long run. And it won't hurt as much when they lose. I saw it happen with Bianca. I saw it with Mia last night. Mia just shouldn't have been in that spot at that time. I wanted to see Mia at TakeOver. I didn't feel that was the right spot. And guess what happened, guys? Exactly what I knew, man. The match didn't blow anyone away. In fact, a lot of people said it was their break of the night. And usually with NXT TakeOvers, you don't have a break. Every single match is fucking dynamite. A lot of people were not happy with that match, not interested in it even. And that's not interested. When I started seeing that a lot on social media, before and after the match, I knew what I thought all along was the correct fucking thought. And I knew it was. But sometimes I like to gauge, not sometimes, I always like to gauge the wrestling community and the wrestling world. And, I just knew they dropped the ball on this. Anyway, I'm not going to harp on it. That's another one of my concerns. If I'm going to review the good shit, I got to tell you guys my concerns, man. And that was my fucking concern. That's all. That's the best way I could have put it. I just saw the same Bianca Belair situation. And I love Bianca Belair. You guys know that. It was one takeover too soon. They gave it a solid try in this 14-minute endeavor, though. It was 14 minutes. So, hey, man. More than the fucking females getting in WWE. So again, even though you can't compare the two, it is so good to see a brand, and I guess AEW will do this too, a brand give the females fucking time on the pay-per-view. That's one of the things where you don't need to compare companies. You should just be giving that time to people. I understand they're completely different beasts. Shit, I made 2 videos about how you can't compare NXT and WWE. But what you can do is give them time at pay-per-views. You can space it out, right? TV is one thing. When you get to the pay-per-views, you can give your matches time and let your performers showcase what they have. You know, so it's so good to see the females able to do that in a brand like NXT. And I hope AEW does the same thing as well. AEW just has to get more good female talent. It was really cool to see Evilise over in AEW's fucking, what are they doing over there? Fucking is it Battle Royal or some shit? I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I just saw Evilise is doing some business with AEW. You get superstars like that in, that female division is gonna rock. Anyway, I'm going in left field with a hockey stick. Let me get back on track. 14-minute endeavor, which I like to see. It picked up nicely towards the finish, but everything before that was, you know what I mean? And a couple of extreme botches too that kind of made you cringe. But again, towards the finish, it got better. It did. If I'm being honest, I know a lot of people are shitting on this. It did get better toward the finish, man. The crowd started to get more into it. Mia took it to another level. But there was just no way they could follow Io and Candice. Let's be honest. That's the real deal here, guys. There was no way they could follow Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. No way. That was the real title match of the night, and it wasn't even for a title. It's just there was no way. Crowd was pretty dead until the last couple minutes, but certainly not for lack of effort. That was what was in my notes, and that's exactly what I remember. So, it is what it is, guys. I knew from the beginning this was probably not the match they should have went with, but I'm sure they thought, what else can we do? Io and Candice are over here. We have to feed somebody to Shayna, so they fed Mia Yim to Shayna. But again, this is NXT TakeOver. We've set the bar so high that we are expecting off-the-chart matches, dynamite, to another caliber. And when you get something like what we saw last night with that championship match, we're kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, is this where we're at now? You know, we've gone from the days of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley. So, did I say Sasha Banks? Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, fucking Asuka, Kairi. You've been through all those fucking females. Ember Moon. And now we're at Mia Yim is now at the TakeOver Championship. And again, I like Mia, but now it's, dude, if that's your top talent, I think there's a little bit of a concern, man. Have they I'm posing a question here. Have they kind of ran dry in NXT with the females? When you get past Shayna Baszler, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Bianca, that's what I mean. Bianca Belair, you already had her fucking pass/tap out in fucking January, beginning of the year. You have Mia Yim you just fed. If you keep... I don't know. Who's really left to have an NXT TakeOver? This is my question. NXT TakeOver, superb match that captivates us. Edge of our seat. We used to see female matches like that all the time. I don't know. Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler, is that where they're going to go? Candice LeRae just dropped that, man. Dropped the match last night. Anyway, Io Shirai, by the way, as a heel, I love that. I know I'm already past Io Shirai, but as a heel, man, I love everything about her. The whole gimmick, the entrance, her movement, everything about her as a heel, man, so fucking awesome. Now here's my another concern here. Or no, it's not a concern. I think it's badass that Shayna Baszler still has the title, but who the fuck is going to beat her, honestly? If you take Candice LeRae out, because I just don't think it's realistic at the next take. She just lost this TakeOver. Now you're going to thrust her in her championship match. So who, outside of LeRae, I mean, Io Shirai is a heel. I don't know if they want to go another heel. Who are they going to go with, really? That's going to be NXT TakeOver worthy. Just don't start throwing out names to me, guys. Everyone right now is looking at the NXT TakeOver roster for the females. BC, what about blah, blah, blah? I'm talking about that's going to give us that NXT Takeover shit that like Bayley and Sasha once gave us. Asuka and Ember Moon once gave us. You know what I mean? Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler. Alright, I'll move on to the NXT Championship match. I can talk pro wrestling for fucking hours, man. Now you guys see what I mean? I do this channel for the fucking love of it, man. Fuck the money that I get from it. Fuck the fucking... It's everything. It's just like, I can talk this shit for fucking hours. I should have been on the road a half an hour. This review should have been fucking 15 minutes. I did my fucking notes last night. Everything I really wanted to portray to you guys. I should have been on the road. Hope you guys love the passion I'm giving you, man. Who am I kidding? I'd be doing this if there was like 5 people watching, man. You know? NXT Championship match is next. This is Adam Cole versus Gargano again. But if you're going to do a rematch, man, Adam Cole and Gargano is the way to do. This was a 2 out of 3 falls match. First fall was a standard wrestling match. It ended at 22 minutes, the 22-minute mark. So that's a pretty long first fall. Gargano gets himself disqualified using a steel chair, and at first it just seems stupid. But thinking about it, as I talked to you this morning, yeah, it still sounds pretty fucking stupid, doesn't it? Getting yourself disqualified with the steel chair. Now, obviously we know what his plan was. Smack the shit out of him with the chair and weaken him for fall number 2. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. You're giving him a fall. Why not, here's a crazy concept, beat him the first fall, and then beat him the second fall? Or is his crazy plan to beat him so bad that he's going to beat him in fall 2, and then he's still going to be beat so bad, he'll beat him in fall 3? It just wasn't right, man. In anything you do in life, guys, in anything you do, if you're doing a 2 out of 3 of anything, are you going to give the first fall to somebody? If you're playing 2 out of 3 basketball game, if you're doing a 2 out of 3 fucking swim race, 2 out of 3 rock, scissors, paper, are you just giving your opponent, or who's on the other side of you, giving them the first fall? No. So you can win the second contest? It just doesn't make sense, man. If it seems I'm harping on it, it's because I am. I don't like that. You know, I just thought that was a stupid finish. But the match, fuck. That was a whole match in one. Right? They literally called it first fall standard wrestling match. It was. That's a normal wrestling match for anyone else. For Gargano and Cole, that was just fall 1, 22 minutes. Now this led into fall number 2. This was 7 minutes only. It felt like it was like 20 minutes because there was so much damn physicality and craziness in this street fight because fall 2 was actually under street fight rules. And they did. They went over and into the crowd. They came back. You're going through fucking, I don't know, over or into some shit, commentary table. It was a lot of fucking physicality. And when it was all said and done, come to find out, it was only 7 minutes. So I don't know how the fuck that was. I love the ending in this. I didn't like the ending of the first fall because it's just not realistic. You're not going to give somebody a fall. And again, I know his story. Weaken him with the steel. Just beat him. You think, or at least you think you think, whatever the fuck. you can beat Cole. Say that 5 times fast. So anyway, I didn't like the first fall. The second fall ended awesome. I love this. Gargano set up a steel chair into the fucking post area between the ropes, and he lawn darts Cole head first into the chair, and then gets him into the lock submission, and Gargano wins the second fall via tap out. I love that, man. That was cool. A lawn dart into his submission. Come on, brah. So a badass fall number 2 finish in the street fight rules, and now we're tied up 1-1, and now we go into fall number 3, and what I call the Cage of Destruction, because I don't know if they ever really gave it a name last night. Even Morrow, when the cage was fully down, Morrow says, I don't even know what to call this. So I'm just calling it Cage of Destruction. You could even call it Cage of Death. Who the fuck knows? This was insanity. There was no way I could possibly review this move for move or even sequence for sequence. You have to see this match for it to do it justice. There was just I don't want to say too much. There was so much chaos going on in this match. Just blown away, man. This was easily their fucking best match out of the 3. They kept raising the bar. Right? Everyone's going to have a different order on this. First, second, and their third. They kept raising the bar for me. Everyone just kept getting better. And because you gave them, what's the total on this, guys, too? Fucking like 48 minutes or some shit, right? If you combined all the falls together, this was at least 48 minutes. They almost damn near win an Iron Man match. And when it was all said and done, this was a ludicrous finish. They were both way up high. And by the way, the Cage of Destruction, I call it that because this was a cage that came down with barbed wire all around the top. And like all of these weapons, from steel chairs to sledgehammers. Again, you had the barbed wire. You had somehow he found a pair of pliers in a bag. There was just all these fucking weapons. He even cut the barbed wire and tried to use it as a weapon too. Gargano did. So, I don't know. It reminds me, am I hallucinating here, guys, or was there a Dean Ambrose Chris Jericho match several years ago, and they had a cage with like all of this shit too? There was like all these weapons, I think, right? It was kind of lame, but I enjoyed it, but a lot of people were like, yeah, I don't know about that. But am I right? Didn't they have like a cage with all these weapons? Or am I just, I don't know. I seem to recall Jericho and Dean Ambrose kind of having a match like that. But anyway, yeah, this cage was legit lit up with toys. Toys, and I use that loosely. But anyway, they're at the top of the cage for the finish. And they're on like this platform or table. It was some fucking platform. Maybe it was just a fucking table. But they were at the top of this motherfucker. And they both dive bombed from the top. Both of them. And they landed honestly, like a cannonball from the Empire State Building down to the 34th Street. That's how fucking hard they smacked. You could just feel their pain when they hit. This thing is not a trampoline, that ring, man. There's no padding to the point where it's going to save you from a fall like that. Today, this morning, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole are in pain. I assure you. Because I felt it when they landed, man. And when they landed from this ludicrous fall, Adam Cole had it in his mind, even though they were both, I felt, damn near dead. Adam Cole had it in his mind that if I could just thrust my arm onto Gargano, I win this match. And he had the wherewithal to do such, and he just flipped over a little bit, probably everything he had, storyline-wise, in reality. And he flipped his arm over, and Gargano got beat 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole, baby, takes off with that championship. In a match that I told you guys, the whole first 4 matches, I felt like it was missing that special feel that NXT TakeOver usually has. That main event itself, that one match, that was basically the whole last hour, 3 different matches in one, that captivated the Amplified Man and brought back that feel. So that saved the entire NXT TakeOver and brought back that special feel that only TakeOver really can give us. And NXT can really give us. I can't speak enough praise, guys, and how in awe I was of just everything they went through. And it's fuck, man. You know what I mean? And again, I won't elaborate anymore. You guys would have to just go back and see what I mean. From opening bell first fall to the end bell third fall. And again, that's why I think this could be Johnny Wrestling's last match in NXT. He's got nothing else to do there. Had all the championship, has he not? He's had the North American, the fucking NXT championship, the tag team championship with Ciampa. He's done it all. You know, and he puts his fucking body and life on the line every time. He put in all the mileage he could possibly put in there. Now I think it's time. Shuttle him over to the main roster and let's see what he can do. He's going to be amazing. I know he is. Everything this guy does captivates you. Or it should anyway. Captivates the Amplified Man. He's like Daniel Bryan, only I'm going to be honest. Daniel Bryan has way more charisma, personality. Johnny Wrestling is the type of guy who just wants to get in there and do the job, you know? Daniel Bryan's like that, but when you give him dialogue or he needs to cut a promo or he needs to carry a storyline, Daniel Bryan can really get into character. Whether he admits it or not, he loves it, man. He gets really into it. And Johnny Wrestling is more like, I just really want to get into the, you know, not that he can't carry a storyline, but the charisma is more Daniel Bryan. And that's where I have my fears with Vince. If Vince sees that Gargano isn't the most over-the-top charismatic person, Does he just not see anything in him? Does Vince McMahon just see Gargano as somebody who's just an NXT dude, not really big, and can't really do anything for him? And that's going to be tragic. Because I can think of so many epic matches that Johnny Wrestling can have on the main roster. And again, I know a lot of you guys are like, no, he's going to the deathbed of Vince McMahon and Vince is going to ruin him. But guys, if you really think about it, he's got nothing else, to prove and nothing else to do in NXT. You might as well see what he can do on the main roster. Sink or swim. I think Johnny Wrestling is unique in this way. He's one of those rare individuals that his wrestling alone can captivate you, and that's not always the case. Usually you have to have an abundance of personality, charisma, be amazing on the microphone, be larger than life, have a huge presence. But Johnny Wrestling's one of those guys that goes in there and his wrestling matches alone make you say, yeah, there's only a few of those, man. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Ricochet, maybe a couple others, but it's a handful. Johnny Wrestling, man, I'm telling you, whether Vince wants to or not, he's going to gain a lot of success on the main roster because he's going to force it. He's going to make everyone see. The casuals are going to fucking just realize what we all see is special in him. I'm telling you, man, I know this seems like immense praise. This guy is something special, man, and he's got nothing else to do down there. I mean, obviously, you could always give him more to do. So no, I guess I'm using that loosely. I'm just saying he's done all the big shit. He was basically Mr. Takeover for the past year plus. It's time to move on. Sometimes moving on can be a sad thing for some people. I understand, but that's it, guys. Takeover goes off the air with Adam Cole Bay in that championship. What a fucking takeover, man. And again, it's because most of those matches, the Mia Yim, Shayna Baszler, but the other three first matches, man, fucking solid, damn good. The Matt Riddle Dain thing, I like that little brawl altercation. In the main event, the whole last fucking hour just blew, I'm sure, all of us away. So, once again, NXT TakeOver delivers, man. I am not going to compare it to WWE. A lot of people, oh shit, WWE's fucking done. Guys, it's its own entity. They probably, let me put it this way, they're going to have to sink or swim on their own merits tonight. Don't worry about what NXT did. Focus on being the best WWE you could possibly fucking be. Make WWE amazing. Again. That's all I ask. I'm going to the shore, guys, work on my fucking tan, get some coffees and some fucking, just some fucking relaxation before something tells me tomorrow morning, the good, the bad, and the ugly, Summerslam review, something tells me we're gonna get amplified. Hopefully it's in a good way. Hopefully there's more tallies in the good section. Hopefully you guys have an awesome Sunday. I'm hoping to be live tweeting tonight at BC Amplified over on Twitter, guys. Hopefully I'll be live tweeting tonight with you guys and interacting, and hopefully it's a lot of good shit. Good shit! Amplified, man, for now. Check you later. Ah, look at that shit. Look at that. Ow! Relax. This is why we have to go get some relaxation on the Jersey Shore. For now. Check you later. Oh no, guys, wait! What the fuck am I talking about? We got a whole nother fucking part of the program. That was already over a half an hour. Way over. We got the fucking SummerSlam preview right now. Fuck was I doing? I was about to cut you guys loose. SummerSlam preview right now, if you guys want to. It's another over half an hour of programming on the channel, so you might have to go get your own coffee and come back and watch it. SummerSlam preview starts right now. We're going to past BC. I filmed this a day or two ago. When I forgot if it was yesterday or the day before. But we're going to past BC. Hopefully NXT TakeOver was badass. I'm guessing it was. And future BC did his job like no one else can do. And that's what past BC hopes to do right now, because tonight, by the time you guys watch this, it'll be SummerSlam 2019. Tonight's card features 10 matches, so WWE has scaled back a bit, if 10 matches is scaling back. Any new matches that were added on, guys, were obviously added on after the making of this video. WWE could, in fact, add a match Sunday morning, which would be this morning for you guys. Who knows? But there's 10 matches as of right now for the card. No telling which one or two will be on the pre-show or any match that will be added to the pre-show. but we'll go over the 10 announced matches. So again, they did scale back to 10 matches. There are superstars not happy with being left off the card, obviously. In fact, one of the Revival members, I think it was Dawson, he asked a question on his social media. Which tag team are you guys most looking forward to? And it added some responses from Peyton Royce, who just gave a frown face, and many others. Even the Young Bucks had some fun with it. And that's because if you guys look at the card, there is no tag teams as of right now on SummerSlam. Now again, a tag team match could be added. They might give them 2 minutes on the main show. They might give them 5 minutes on a pre-show. As of right now, no tag teams. In fact, the Usos, from what I heard, couldn't even get into Canada because of, who was it? Jimmy with the last arrest? Or was it Jay? Well, Jay was just last month, so I think Jimmy was the recent one. I don't know, but they couldn't even get into Canada. And Vince just took every other tag team off. That's why you saw the Women's Tag Team Championship on Raw and not defended at SummerSlam. So in one way, that's kind of sad, or really sad. I'm not the biggest fan of tag team wrestling recently, as in recent years, because in recent years for WWE, it hasn't been anything special. They took my love for tag team wrestling that I once had for like Demolition, Legion of Doom, The Rockers, even Harlem Heat and WCW, Heart Foundation way even before that. Guys, they took that love and passion away from me. WWE's tag team division has just been in the shitter for the past several years. So on one hand, it's dramatically just sad that this is the case. On the other hand, I'm okay with it because every single Monday Night Raw, every single SmackDown, we see nothing but redundancy with tag team matches that we don't even care about, and 6-man tag matches we don't care about, and even 4-on-4 matches we don't give a shit about. So it's kind of nice to just see a bunch of one-on-ones for the most part. That's really kick-ass, but you can't help but feel bad and sad for the tag team division, man. None of them made the card, at least not of the making of this video. So there is a lot of people not happy with being left off of SummerSlam. Also, I have a question of my own. What about the IC strap? That is not part of the 10 matches. We thought, and it looked like Shinsuke Nakamura was going to tie it up with Ali at SummerSlam. It looked like that's where they were headed. They had a match at Smackville, and then they had a match a couple of days later on WWE TV. But then this past Tuesday, Ali jobbed out to Dolph Ziggler. So that would be a tad unrealistic if you're just going to have Ali drop a match to Dolph, of all people, who's been on his own losing streak. And then Ali's just going to be catapulted to an IC strap match, impromptu style, at SummerSlam. That wouldn't make any fucking sense. So I don't see Ali taking on Shinsuke. Or again, it would just be unrealistic. You just had Ali job out to Dolph. You don't get rewarded with a championship match 6 days later or 5 days later. Wouldn't make sense. But that's one of my questions. And something that's actually not a question, something that's going to happen is, of course, and again, this is not listed as a match, but it's going to be a confrontation and continuing storyline between Roman Reigns, Eric Rowan, D-Bry, and who knows, maybe even Samoa Joe, Buddy Murphy, and maybe a continuing mystery star that's also a part of all of this, but that's going to be a part of the continuing story maybe, you know, so maybe another superstar is going to be added into the fold. Who knows, man? But look for this whole saga, this whole story between Roman Reigns and his mystery attacker. Look for that to continue, and maybe even an altercation with Rowan and Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. It's going to be basically like the Undertaker John Cena story heading into WrestleMania a couple years ago, where it wasn't an actual match, but was one of the main stories heading into the big event. It's almost like that. So that's going to be a big part of SummerSlam, the whole Roman Reigns angle. Yeah, and then there's the card itself, the 10 fucking matches. Let me take a couple swigs of my coffee and then we'll get into this. All right, re-energized, right? Now, I don't know, again, what they're actually going to put on the pre-show. As of right now, it really hasn't been determined, or I should take that back. By the time you guys are watching this, I'm filming this a couple days in advance, but by the time you guys watch this, maybe they did announce something for the pre-show, but I bring that up because the first match I'm going to go over is usually the match that they would put in the pre-show. And of course, that's the Cruiserweight Championship. Drew Gulak taking on Oney Lorcan. I don't see how this match goes any other way but Drew walking out with that championship. I mean, the guy just got the strap, basically. All right, maybe not just got it, but you want to give this guy a reign. How the fuck are you going to play hot potato with this motherfucker? I think this has to be Drew's to walk out. Now, obviously, you have to have Oney looking good. Oney Lorcan has to look badass. I just don't see how he would walk away with the strap. But it's the fucking cruiserweights. Vince has the ultimate say in everything, so he might not give a shit about giving Drew a real shot with that strap. Or having any lengthy title reign. Maybe he just wants to hot potato it. Maybe he just doesn't care about the division at all. And maybe he'll let somebody else fucking dictate what happens. That would probably be the best case scenario, because then we'll get actually time in the match. You can let these two have, I don't know, here's a crazy concept, more than 10 minutes. And then whoever wins, it wouldn't fucking matter because we actually got a badass contest and a winner and a loser that was justified. Again, that makes too much sense, so I won't even hold our breath on that, right? Goldberg and Dolph Ziggler is next up. This is easy. This is Goldberg going in there within 2 minutes, annihilating Dolph Ziggler. Get the crowd to chant your name one last time, give your bow, your salute, walk off into the sunset. I honestly think Goldberg knew his Undertaker match at Super Showdown was going to be it. It ended up being a huge epic failure for many reasons, and Goldberg knew he did not want to. He could not leave the wrestling business on such a sour note. So Goldberg is, in fact, he went to Vince. They didn't just call up Goldberg to appear in Toronto. No, Goldberg went to Vince in WWE and said, please, I need one more shot. He left on social media when somebody asked him, what's left for you to do in the business? And he said, to get that bad taste out of my mouth from Super Showdown. And he knew he had to come back. And Vince is going to give him this one more opportunity, this one chance to clear out his name, and go off into the sunset with, or at least on a high note. And he deserves that. Whether you like or don't like Bill Goldberg, you can admit the guy was a huge part of that WCW surge during those Monday Night Wars. And whatever side of the fence you were on, whatever side of the spectrum you were on, you knew Goldberg was a presence. Goldberg was a superstar. Goldberg was unlike a lot of motherfuckers back then. A league of his own, and to this very day, he brings an energy and an amplification that not a lot of people can even tap into, to the point where he knocks himself out before the match even starts. Not saying that's a good thing, but again, he taps into a whole nother level of energy, and I love that. I miss that shit. So whether you like it or not, it's so nice and refreshing to see that type of superstar today. Unfortunately, it is the superstars from yesterday that keep bringing that type of energy. Unfortunately, superstars today don't bring that type of energy or that feel or that amplification. Superstars today look like they're just from the same assembly line. Oops, wait, they are. It's called a performance center. They all just look like carbon copies of one another. Nobody brings this charisma or extra personality. Nobody's oozing charisma or personality. They all look the same. They're all boring. I miss that Goldberg type of character, man. So to see him one more time, one more badass showing, and leave the way he should be leaving the pro wrestling business, because I do believe this is the last time you're going to see Goldberg compete. I think he might get on the mic right after and say, I'm retired, or the next night on Raw. But I think this is it. And I think this should be an absolute job of Dolph. Sorry, Dolph. Sorry, not sorry. You've been getting jobbed out since you've been fucking back. You've been thrusted in the main event somehow since you've been back. But you just fucking jobbed out. What's one more, man? And this one at least is justified. Let's be honest. It's fucking Goldberg. Spear, jackhammer, take a bow, and ride off into the sunset. Me going over that Goldberg-Dolph match is probably going to be longer than the match itself. So I apologize. I just had a lot to get off my chest there with Goldberg, man. This is the true goodbye I feel for one of the larger-than-life superstars from back in the day. Speaking of superstars from back in the day, Trish Stratus returning for one more match against Charlotte Flair. Now, yes, I'm Sasha Banks biased. I would like to see Sasha Banks in there with Trish, especially when they teased it at the Royal Rumble last year. And you kind of had it in your dome piece. Like, could you imagine Sasha and Trish just compliment each other? That would be a dynamite match. We don't really know what to expect with Trish and Charlotte. We just know that's a dream match of sorts as well. So I'm, of course, down with this. There was not too much interaction between these two to build up a storyline. Trish only made 2 appearances, but in those 2 appearances, they did go face-to-face. There was a little bit of altercation with the smack across the dome piece from Trish smacking Charlotte. So there was a little bit. Charlotte just kind of laughed it off like she knew she was going to whip Trish's ass on Sunday. So, I don't know, this is one of those matches where maybe story doesn't supersede the match itself. We're really anticipating just seeing Trish and Charlotte one-on-one in there. So the story could be a little bit mediocre, and we'll give it a pass. The real grade, and how we're going to grade this, I should say, is going to be what they actually do in the ring. What can Trish do after all these years, one-on-one, with a superior talent like Charlotte? That we're going to find out, folks. So I don't know where this goes. I know where it has to go, though, or should. Charlotte has to walk away with the W. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, right? First of all, a lot of people don't even like Charlotte Flair. On top of that, come on, BC. Trish is coming back, man. One more match. Let her get a victory. I'm into this mentality where if you're going to bring old-timers back, there's one of 2 situations. There's the give me match, and then there's the match where you literally pass a torch. Now, I'm not saying Trish needs to pass a torch to Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair has all the torches. Vince McMahon gives Charlotte Flair the world and doesn't ask any questions. So Charlotte doesn't need a torch. But she absolutely is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. Make sure I say one of, because then I always get people going, what about this one and this one? Yes, I'm not going to say they're better than Charlotte, but they're right there with Charlotte. Charlotte Flair is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. You don't have to like her to say that. I mean, just because you think somebody sucks doesn't mean they actually do. Or just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean they suck. Charlotte Flair is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. The fact that we're getting Trish and Charlotte is pretty badass. I feel Charlotte has to get that Trish rub to move on. Or at least that's how I feel what should go down. Not that she needs it. She absolutely should be getting that Trish rub. But that's one of the 2 I was telling you about. When you bring an old-timer back, there's one of 2 scenarios. There's the one where you need to get the rub, or should get the rub, should get a torch kind of passed to you. And then there's the type of situation when an old-timer comes back that you have that old-timer kick ass, jobber-type style. Like Goldberg and Ziggler. That just screams Goldberg annihilating Ziggler, because look how Ziggler's been booked. Look what Goldberg is coming back to do. Basically his farewell goodbye. Trish, on the other hand, she could have another match or 2, at least, after Charlotte. You know, and maybe Trish is put in a position after Charlotte where it's kind of a Goldberg situation. Maybe it's Trish defeating another superstar, but that superstar really never got the time of day anyway, so this is the biggest headline she's ever grabbed. A match with Trish Stratus puts that female on the map. But Trish gets the ultimate victory. You never know, you know, but this is one of those, I hope I'm not confusing it. Welcome to my dome piece, man. I think about all type of scenarios and situations. But I think that Charlotte needs to walk off with that. She's got too many victories with, like, you look at what she did with Asuka's career. You look at how many titles she's won. You look at just the Ronda Rousey match and really holding her own. And then you tell me that Trish is just going to come back after all these years and beat Charlotte when you know Charlotte's going to be in this division years to come. You're just not going to talk me out of this, guys. Charlotte has to find a way to win this, and I think that's the way they're going to eventually go. Next up, we'll go... up next, we'll go AJ Styles and Ricochet for the United States Championship. Champion Styles, challenger Ricochet. I've seen this match so many times, but something about seeing this on the Summerslam stage in Toronto, kind of intriguing, man. Again, it comes down to, I sound like a broken record, but if Vince gives them time, this is going to be probably one of the actual wrestling matches that steals the show. Honestly, it has that capability. Look at the names. Listen to the names I'm saying here. AJ Styles and Ricochet are taking on each other one-on-one at SummerSlam for a championship. If you would have told me that years ago, we all would have been saying, take my fucking money and don't interrupt me, don't bother me while this match is on. And that's what I'm saying here today. And Sunday night, I really hope they give them time. This will be the best match that they've had. One-on-one, tag team, six-man tag, whatever the fuck. This will be the match. Ricochet and Styles, I'm telling you. So I'm down with it. I don't see how you play hot potato in the end. Ricochet already had the championship. AJ Styles ended up getting the championship from him. What do? Ricochet gets it back at SummerSlam. Was all of this just to give it back to Ricochet? So you reform Gallows, Anderson, and Styles, the club, the OG. OG. They're the OG, right? But they're the OC, the original club. I'm sorry. Original gangsters. The OC. You get them all, the band back together. You give them all championships. And Styles just loses it 2 weeks later after fucking Gallows and Anderson just got the belts. I don't see it happening. Styles has to walk out with the strap. Does that mean Ricochet wins the match somehow? Count out to squad? Who the fuck knows? Probably DQ is how they'll end up going, right? They have a badass match. We're on the edge of our seat waiting for an actual winner. And Gallows and Anderson, come in and do the cowardly DQ so Styles keeps his championship, And that'll get AJ Styles immense heat. They have a badass match. Vince gives them 20 minutes at least. We really are waiting for a really awesome ending, and then fucking Gallows and Anderson ruin it all, and the boos will be raining down in Toronto. I think that's a cool way to end it. But I just think Styles has to keep the championship. I don't like hot potato. Where do you guys want to go? Finn Balor taking on the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Now, this is the moment we've all been waiting for Wyatt, right? The long entrance, the fucking theme music, whatever the finished product is gonna be. Finn Balor, obviously, we would have loved to have seen the Demon, but this isn't going to be the Demon. This is just going to be regular old pop-collar smiley Finn, because after he does the job to Bray, which he is doing the job to Bray, he's going to ride off into the sunset for a while. He has requested time off. Vince, from what we're hearing, has granted it, and that's why Finn Balor has basically been insignificant at all, kind of under the radar for the past couple months. But then again, even when Finn Balor had the championship, he was under the radar, right? So he was kind of obsolete. So it wouldn't really fucking matter. Finn Balor, I think, knew the writing was on the wall. He needs to get out for a little bit, just like Sasha Banks had to get out. But I think Balor went about it a little bit in a better way. Balor actually requested it. He went to Vince and said, listen, I need to take off for a while. I just need to clear my head. And Vince is like, cool, man. You're going to do one more major job to Bray Wyatt. Now, we've already seen Bray Wyatt in Finn Balor. We've already seen this shit. We've already seen the Demon come back with Bray. So we've seen every variation you can with Finn and Bray. What is interesting about this is that we're seeing the Fiend. We're going to see the long walk down the rampway, or maybe we won't. Maybe it'll be pitch fucking dark and he just appears in the ring. But we're going to see a matchup. Does Vince keep this short so he doesn't ruin up front the mystique of the Fiend? And maybe this is like a 2-minute job, literally. Maybe this will be quicker than Goldberg and Dolph Ziggler. Who knows? But you'd be lying to yourself if you thought for 1 second you ain't a little bit intrigued about this. We all are. And this is definitely a special attraction match. So even though it's a rematch, there's some intriguement there, man. And obviously this has to go one way. Bray Wyatt looking like a fucking beast when it's all said and done. I actually want something more, too. This shouldn't just be a couple minutes and Bray looks, badass and he gets a W. I want something, kind of mystifying. Something that's going to blow us away. Something epic, that adds another layer to this character. So I want something more than just Bray beating Finn Balor. Next up, you talk Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. When you talk rematches, this is the rematch of all rematches. And why do I say that? You guys know what I'm about to say. I've said this in several videos. Not only have I seen these guys in Hell in a Cell. How much farther can you go than Hell in a Cell is where you go to kill off the feud. You don't need to see it anymore. We've seen these two in Hell in a Cell, and now we're going to see them just in another match. So we're going backwards, kind of. On top of that, the big thing hanging over this match, right, the big stipulation is if Kevin Owens loses, he basically loses his job. But we've already seen that at last year's WrestleMania when Shane McMahon tagged up with Daniel Bryan and they took on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So it was Shane McMahon versus Owens at WrestleMania, and if Owens loses, him and Sami Zayn lose their job. So not only is this a redundancy rematch, but it's also a stipulation I've seen before too. So when it's all said and done, obviously, I think Shane McMahon is going to take a lot more airtime off in the future. So I think this is obviously going to, and it should be going to Kevin Owens. I'm just not down with all the bullshit stipulation and all that. But if they give him a little bit of time, man, Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens, as we've seen in the past, will deliver in Toronto at SummerSlam. Should be pretty fun nonetheless. But again, the whole fact that they were in Hell in a Cell ruins it to a degree for me. I think if you're in Hell in a Cell, that should be it. But anyway, now let's move on, right? Where do you guys want to fucking go? Bayley, Ember Moon. Where'd we go? Drew Gulak and Oney Larkin, we already did. Goldberg and Ziggler. Trish, Charlotte. Styles and Ricochet. Finn Balor. Bray Wyatt. Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon. You guys want to go Bayley and Ember now? Alright, so let's go Bayley and Ember Moon. This is going to be for Bayley's Women's Championship. SmackDown Women's Championship. There's two of them. You guys know how I feel about this. One-on-one is all I asked for. Give Ember Moon a chance. Give Ember Moon a fucking shot on the big stage. Even if you're not going to have her win, put her in something meaningful. I got half of that. She got a match on the big stage. I was hoping that was going to mean an awesome storyline. Give her something special, right? No. Since she's been announced for this match, she has been dropped on her head and looked like a fool since then. The week after this was announced, Alexa Bliss beat her simplistically. Alexa Bliss isn't even on the SummerSlam card. And she beat the challenger for a championship match at SummerSlam. And Alexa Bliss just beat her like nothing. And then after that match, Bayley planted her on her head again with a belly to belly just for the hell of it. And then she smiled down at Ember, who was knocked out. And then a week later, last week on Tuesday, SmackDown, Ember Moon was in a sharpshooter that Natty put her in, just screaming out in agony. And Bayley had to actually come out and save the day. So even though Ember Moon was placed in this one-on-one match, guys, it's kind of tragic the way she was. But I mean, I guess beggars can't be choosers. At least she was on TV. But you know that's only because they put her into this championship match. And you know it's also only so Vince McMahon looks good in the long run. Because there's 3 women's matches. There's only one woman of any diversity in one of those 3 matches. And that's Ember Moon. So he knew he had to put somebody in there that will show diversity. He didn't want to put Ember in there. And I have proof of that. Look at the way Ember has been booked since. I would be astonished, floored, if Ember Moon walks out of that match as a new champion. First of all, I would be ecstatic because I love Ember Moon, and I've been waiting for that moment on the main roster. So I'd be absolutely ecstatic, but I'd be just shocked that they're letting Ember Moon hold that championship because I know Vince is not high on her, and that's a shame. On the flip side of things, I don't know where Bayley goes from here. You know what I mean? I don't know if any of us are riveted by Bayley's title run. I do have to admit, it's working better for me than when Becky Lynch had that title a while back. Or just recent women's champions, they haven't been really captivating me on the SmackDown brand. But when you have Bayley in that position, I feel she can have really good matches. Vince just has to give her the time of day. Ember Moon will give her that good match. That's why that really does intrigue me. And that's why I was so adamant the last several weeks. Do not put Charlotte Flair in there. Do not put Alexa in there and make it a triple threat or a fatal 4. Just give me a one-on-one match. Well, as of now, that one-on-one, I can fucking speak. I need another coffee. That one-on-one match is still on. Nobody else has been added. I don't put it past Vince, though. Last second, he could slip in Alexa Bliss, who currently has no fucking match. So I'm not holding my breath, man. But as of right now, it's one-on-one, and I don't know, man. I'm cool with Bayley walking out with the championship, and I know you guys are shocked because I love Ember Moon, but I'm cool with Bayley walking out. All I ask is that Vince gives them the time. Let them rock it out for 15 minutes at least, and I will be happy. 15 at least. That's not asking a lot when you're looking at a talent like Ember Moon and Bayley. They could put on a dynamite women's match, man. Maybe the women's match of the night if you just let them. Let's go to the flip side, the other women's match. This is for the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch champion taking on challenger Natalya. This is one where the story actually was done and told beautifully. Right? A lot of these matches, we're talking about how the story maybe wasn't too good, but the matches should deliver. In this case, with Becky and Natalya, the match absolutely should deliver, but the story's been kind of cool. Something between these two has been very real, and there's been a believability when they're on the mic one-on-one, or when they're just getting into an altercation with each other. And you really sense, or get a sense from Natalya, that there's just like desperation and obsession with beating Becky and showing Becky she's not only in her league, but she can beat Becky Lynch and take that strap. And I don't know, man. There's just that believability. So storyline-wise, I was interested from the beginning. When I didn't think I was, right? When I first saw Natty, I'm like, come on. Seriously? You're just going to play up this because it's her homeland, it's Canada, and we're going to see Natty and Becky like I need to fucking see Natty and Becky? But like I always tell you guys, give them a chance to see where they're going. If it's what we all think, and they don't even have a clue where they're going, then people like me, the Amplified Man, will drill them on it. Trust me, I will call them out. But if they do actually lead to something good, then at least we gave them that chance. Well, guess what? Becky and Natty actually turned into something good storyline-wise, and at this event, during SummerSlam in Toronto, when this match is going off, I expect them, not just a wrestling clinic, I expect them to just beat the shit out of each other. This should be just physical, right? Bayley and Ember will put on the wrestling classic. Trish and Charlotte may even give you some of that. Becky and Natty just beat each other up. It'll be fun for everybody. Give them at least 10 minutes, and let's have Becky Lynch walk off with that strap. I don't see Natty taking this strap, guys. I know it's Canada, but let's have her just go out with the old Stone Cold type thing when he's in the, Natty will be in the sharpshooter and she'll have to pass out. I always say, don't use that type of finish all the time. NXT likes to do that. They like the pass out finish where they won't have you tap, but they'll have their superstar pass out because it makes everybody look good. It's the old Stone Cold finish from WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart. And I always say you can't overdo it. But because she is in her home country, and I feel she does have to lose, if you want her to pass out, everybody wins. Becky Lynch wins a hard-fought brawl and keeps her title, and Natty in her homeland never gave up and gave it the fight of her life. I like it. Everybody wins. Kofi Kingston is going to defend his WWE Championship against Randy Orton in what we believe is one of the main events for the WWE Championship. This is another one where the story didn't do anything for anybody. It didn't even feel like there was a build between Randy Orton and Kofi. Kofi wasn't even on TV a couple of the fucking weeks, and the other couple of weeks, Randy wasn't on TV. So it just seemed to me like there was no build at all. But in the end, even though this is a rematch, another one, in the end, I honestly feel they're going to deliver. There's something in the air about this that I honestly feel Vince could put the title on Randy Orton and have him go into the whole SmackDown on Fox deal, Randy Orton with the strap. I think Vince is kind of setting Randy Orton up for that, and I'm cool with that, by the way. I was one of the front runners for Kofi Mania. I really wanted to see Kofi with that championship, and I'm glad they did put the championship on him, and I'm glad he was champion the past several months. So I'm not saying I necessarily want to see Kofi drop the title, but I do feel Randy Orton deserves and should have one more badass run before he literally is just called past his prime. Because he's not yet. Randy Orton has one more badass run. Why not now leading into the Fox deal? So I'm down with Randy Orton get that championship, guys. And again, it's Kofi and Orton. It's going to be a badass match. Again, the theme of this whole video, or this segment, if they give them time. That's the big if. That's the asterisk. The actual main event, probably for these guys, is going to be Brock and Seth. Brock Lesnar, the title holder for the Universal strap, taking on Seth Rollins, the challenger. This is the deal. I don't know who Vince is going to choose here. I really don't know who's walking out with the title. I don't know if he's going to keep it on Brock and have Brock go into, past the summer with the fucking strap, or is he going to give it to Seth? I don't know what more you do with Seth. I'm being totally honest with you. You've already seen Seth with it. And he, I'm sorry to this. That's about a fucking million ums, but I'm trying to stretch the right words. I don't know if Seth Rollins is going to give us a better title reign than he did. You know what I mean? I think we saw the best out of Seth. And again, booking and uncreative didn't help him at all. But I just don't see I don't think we need to see another Seth Rollins title reign. So I don't know why he would get the title back. For what? To hold it past the rest of the summer into the fall to get over to the Fox deal, even though he's Raw, but I don't know who's going to be on what. They're probably going to redo everything and have another fucking draft, to be honest. So I don't know why they would keep it on Seth. If they keep it on Brock, what does that do for any of us? Is Brock going to show up more? Or is it just going to be the same? Brock Lesnar shows up once every couple months, and once every 3 months he'll be on a pay-per-view to defend the title. I don't know if the fans win either way here. I don't know who wins. But what I do know is that the biggest question, no, that is the big, what am I saying? Whoever walks out with the championship is the biggest question. But a question right underneath that is, how do you go about this match? We've already seen these two do the blueprint that should have been put out there the last time they fought, which was Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of Seth, and in the very end, Seth found a way to overcome the biggest obstacle in his career. That was the story that told off beautifully in that match. How do you go about this one? You can't totally redo the same thing where Brock is kicking the shit out of Seth for 10 minutes and then all of a sudden the final minute, Seth comes to life and slays the beast. You can't possibly tell the same story. So what the fuck are we going to have here? And on top of that, Seth Rollins has been destroyed for the past several weeks. You're telling me Seth Rollins wrestling/fighting at half capacity can beat Brock Lesnar in any form or fashion? I'm going to call bullshit. It's not realistic. So I guess I just answered my own question of what I think should happen. Brock should be walking out with that title. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I just broke it down. And if we're talking realistically, Brock's got to keep this title, guys. I'm not saying I want to see him with the title for months to come, but I'm also not saying I'd want to or need to see Seth Rollins with the title for months to come. Anyway, that's SummerSlam 2019. That is your official preview. I just broke down every fucking match. And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I actually don't mind this card. I know there's a bunch of rematches. I know there's no tag team titles on the line. There's so much that we can pick apart and just not like about it. But in recent years, we've seen some horrible pay-per-views, at least on paper, or especially on paper. Sometimes they went out and performed and it was much better than was on paper, and sometimes the performances matched what was on paper. But my point is, I've seen some horrible pay-per-views on paper. This one, I don't mind, man. Seeing Bray Wyatt finally for the first time, seeing Trish and Charlotte, seeing Bayley and Ember, seeing Becky and Natty. AJ Styles and Ricochet on a big stage like that, and hopefully they're given time. Goldberg for the last time, I truly believe. Randy Orton and Kofi, I really believe. I mean, you're talking about two consummate professionals from back in the day. They're going to deliver, man. You've got to believe that. And Owens and Shane McMahon, like they always do, they're going to have something up their sleeve, and it's going to be wildly entertaining. So I don't have any reservations about that. Yeah, man, it's just, there's a lot here that I'm willing to sit back and fucking have my cold colada / frappuccino and all my fucking, my plethora of ice cream. Yeah, that's how I like to watch my fucking wrestling, man. My fucking Starbucks and a plethora of ice cream options, man. And I gained 500 pounds during a pay-per-view. Don't worry, I go to the gym 3 times a day for the weeks after a pay-per-view. So I'm good. That's how I keep my fucking abs steel, and that's how I keep the guns rocking. But yeah, I'm willing to sit back and enjoy this shit. I just ask for one thing. Allow us to enjoy it, Vince. Give us entertaining shit. Make us say, that's good shit. And we'll all be good, you know? But now, the talking is done, guys. The time for talk is done. Now it's time for the performers, the boys and gals, to go out there and put on the performances of their life. We'll all be watching, and the Amplified Man will be with you the Monday morning following, by the time you're watching this, tomorrow morning, and we will have the good, the bad, and the ugly of WWE SummerSlam 2019. And I really hope I'm marking a lot of goods into the good category. I really do. I want nothing but the best, guys. I do not wish them failure at all.
I just want to be wildly entertained like I used to watch SummerSlam back in the day. So this card, it's got potential. Let's see where it goes. The Amplified Man for now. You know it. You know it. Yeah, baby. Check you later.